Any woman who tries to pursue Andrew Tate individually in this way will probably lose because of the immense amount of wealth and influence that he has, specifically over the Romanian police authorities. Let's go ahead and get right into things then. I did not mean to start on the day that you need to go to work in the morning, Ivana, but it's okay. We'll get there. So, as for what did Andrew Tate do this time, he had an interview a couple days ago with the BBC, and I want to go over some stuff in that interview that I found particularly interesting. I've only seen the first couple minutes of it, and that was what made me decide, oh, I want to cover this, because I see something in here that I already take some issue with. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and get into the fan art section. First one we have here is from Catberry Lemonade. Plead emoji gif made in a few hours. Even if it doesn't make it on as an official emote, all the neckcoin art made me feel like it was justified. I may finish it if you ask me. I hope you like it as much as I had fun making it. This is fucking adorable. This is adorable as just a little pixelated emote going boop, boop, boop. Also, Axo, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an owl. Said, aw, Slime Kitty want a cookie. Apparently. The next one we have here is from Alley Cat. Said, Suris eating a neckcoin, apparently, but all by the gods does my artistic talent have a lot to be desired. Look, everybody who has ever done art is always on some stage of a journey. Do not ever get upset at yourself for being on a particular part of that journey. It's okay. But I think it looks great. I think that the little mischievous face there as I'm about to just destroy that neckcoin is amazing. Although the coin seems to have its own tail hammer. I'm going to have to steal that. That's mine now. That's mine now. As always, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that all said, let's go ahead and get right into the topic at hand, because Andrew Tate has some stuff that we need to pay attention to. Apparently. Kind of, sort of.
Question the controversial social media influencer Andrew Tate at his home in the Romanian capital, Bucharest. Tate is under house arrest and being investigated by Romanian prosecutors for accusations including rape, human trafficking and exploiting women, which he denies. The BBC challenged him on whether his views about women...
Stop! I'm gonna have to ask you to not ever again. But I really don't have much of a choice because you did put the 50,001 channel points anyway. And I know that being held at channel point gunpoint is the only reason I'm doing this. You fucker. But okay, fine. Ooh. Are you happy now? Did you get the thing you needed? Is that what you needed to get off? Vela NB says you actually know you love saying it. No. That is not the case. That is not the case at all. I think I might actually hate all of you a little bit more every time you make me do that. Every single time. Every single time. Katini says I could make it worse. Please don't. Let's get back into the topic.
Women broadcast to his millions of online followers harmed young people, as many teachers and police officers claim. Well, the interview, which had no set conditions, was Tate's first since being released into house arrest from police custody last month. Lucy Williamson reports now from Bucharest.
We are doing an interview with you because you're facing some very serious allegations.
Correct.
Rape, human trafficking.
Yep.
And also because there's a great deal of concern about the things you say and the impact that they have on young people, on women.
I don't think the concern's about the things I say. I think the concern is for the level of influence I have and the reach I have.
Let's stop.
All right, so let's go ahead and make a quick correction here. It's not he's not technically incorrect. If a random person out in the middle of nowhere said the things that Andrew Tate did, then that probably wouldn't cause too many eyebrows to be raised. But because he is saying those things as an influencer with the amount of influence that he has, he's technically right. But this is deflection. When you try to say, oh, it's not because of what I say, it's how many people I influence, you're kicking the can down the way a little bit. It is, in fact, about the things you say, and the fact that those things you say are going to be seen and heard by infinitely more people than random people on the internet just in a random Discord server.
What were the allegations? Have you raped anybody?
Absolutely not.
Have
And of course, anybody who has talked with a lawyer for any amount of time is going to deny every allegation that comes to them. This part is just showmanship.
you trafficked anybody?
Also, hi,
Absolutely
Cooney!
not.
Exploited any women for
Absolutely
money?
not.
But you have admitted using emotional manipulation to get women to work in the webcam industry for you.
No. We have an open criminal investigation. I am absolutely and utterly sure I'll be found innocent. I know the case better than you. I know it intimately and you don't. I have seen all the criminal files and the evidence against me and you haven't.
All right, so before we get any further there, I like how instead of actually defending himself, instead of actually giving any evidence as to why he is fine, he just goes, look, I have done this and you haven't. I am smarter than you. I am better than you. I am in a position of power. You are not. Dude, that level of defensiveness. I understand with the allegations being sent to him that anybody would be kind of defensive, but this reads to me as a dude who is so used to having power over people, especially women, that when he gets challenged by a woman here, the first thing he can think of is like, huh, gotta alpha male dominate them right now.
I know the truth of what happened and you don't. And I'm telling you absolutely and utterly, I've never hurt anybody, that the case that's been put against me is completely and utterly fabricated, and I'm never going to be found guilty of anything. And it's very difficult for me to answer your in-depth questions because we're sitting here in...
Wait, hold on. I feel like we just found a contradiction. Hold on.
Exploited any women for
Absolutely
money?
not.
But you have admitted using emotional manipulation to get women to work in the webcam industry for you.
No. We have an open criminal investigation. I am absolutely and utterly sure I'll be found innocent. I know the case...
Okay, I'm sure I'll be found in... Okay, so he didn't contradict himself there.
That the case that's been put against me is completely and utterly fabricated, and I'm never going to be found guilty of anything. And it's very difficult for me to answer your in-depth questions because we're sitting here inside of the territory of Romania. I'm beholden to the Romanian legal system, and I'm not going to incriminate myself.
Let me read you then what you have said about what you have done.
Sure.
Yay,
You
2
have
months,
said,
lol.
my job was to
Danny Kitty, thank you so much for resubscribing.
meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, get her to fall in love with me to the point where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam so we could become rich together.
I don't think that's what I personally said. I think
That's exactly what you said on your website.
No, I've never said that. That's something that you found on the internet.
Right. So this is the point. This is as far up into this as I've watched. And I stopped watching here because this is an archive version of Andrew Tate's website from the PhD program. Who am I? My name is Andrew Tate. I'm a retired 4-time world champion kickboxer who's now a multimillionaire, and I'm the most competent person in the entire planet to teach you about male-female interactions. How did I become rich? Webcam. I've been running a webcam studio for nearly a decade. I've had over 75 girls work for me. My business model is different than 99% of webcam studio owners. No, it's not. Over 50% of my employees were actually my girlfriend at the time. And of all my girlfriends, none were in the adult entertainment industry before me. My job was to get women to fall in love with me. Literally, that was my job. My job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, test if she's quality, get her to fall in love with me to where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on a webcam so we could become rich together. Whether you agree or disagree with what I said, with what I did, with their loyalty, submission, and love for me, doesn't matter. You cannot reject the results. And the results are simple. My girlfriends would do more for me than 99% of men's wives would do for them. So, what do we have here, then? What do we have? Well, we have, from Andrew Tate's website, written ostensibly to be his own words about his own relationships and the things he did. And he's saying, oh no, you just found that on the internet. Yeah, where you fucking wrote it, dumbass. Jesus Christ.
Doesn't mean I've said it.
In your words.
And again, once again, if any female on the planet has a problem with me, I strongly recommend her to go to the police and try and pursue me for criminal charges. I'm actually such a nice person that
Okay, but this part doesn't matter as much because he's in Romania, a place where he has stated that he has gone to because he's able to bribe the police. The police are corrupt and he can get them in his pockets with his money. He has stated multiple times he does that not because he wants to rape women, but because he just wants to make sure that he himself is safe from rape allegations. Any woman who tries to pursue Andrew Tate individually in this way will probably lose because of the immense amount of wealth and influence that he has, specifically over the Romanian police authorities. So him doing this, saying like, well, if they just come to me, trust the legal system that I've 100% said is corrupt and in my pocket. Okay.
BBC has spoken to somebody since your arrest who says exactly those things, that with you it's all manipulation, there's an ulterior motive to everything you do.
Is this Sophie? Oh, it's Sophie, the fake name, no face. No,
I was so intent on wanting to please him and want
the fake name, no face. Look. When somebody is in an abusive situation, many times their victims will try to be as anonymous as possible. If Andrew Tate has 5, 6, 7, 8 victims, and all of them say, oh no, we aren't the ones who said this, but the story is out there, all it means is one of two things. On the one hand, maybe it was a fabricated story, but on the other hand, somebody is scared of having bad things happen to them, which Andrew Tate has said on multiple occasions he would make bad things happen to the people who were employed by him if they went against him. Like the one girl who threw up in his apartment, and then he threw all of her stuff out a window when she wouldn't clean it up because they had a machismo contest, basically.
wanting him to be happy, that I was just kind of, yeah, okay, do whatever you want.
And what is she accused? Has she accused me of a crime, this imaginary Sophie?
She's making the point that there is
Has she accused me of a crime?
Emotional...
Okay, so again, we're not talking about you necessarily needing to be accused of a crime. And even if we were, you would deflect onto, well, I'm not going to incriminate myself. As of right now, what's being stated is that you are an abuser. Being an abusive asshole is not a crime in and of itself, depending on the types of abuse you engage in. But simply pointing out that, yeah, you're abusive. Anybody's going to do that in a situation like this.
Or psychological manipulation.
I've asked you a question, and I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you a question.
Correct, but you're not the boss here, because I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you the question.
Oh my god, the literal tiny penis energy going up here. No. You're not the boss here. You're not the boss here. You're not the boss. There's no boss here. There's no boss. Nobody gives a shit that it's your house. Nobody gives a flying shit.
Correctly, and I'm telling you.
You get to decide the answers.
No, we're equal here. I've allowed you into my house. You don't come here with a position of authority. I'm doing you the favor as legacy media, giving you relevance by speaking to you, and I'm telling you now, this Sophie, which the BBC has invented, which there's no face of, nobody knows who she is.
The BBC did not invent her.
Of course not, and because you never invent anything. And she's not filed criminal charges against me. What are we talking about here? What is she saying?
We're talking about emotional manipulation into the sex industry for your financial gain.
Absolute garbage.
I'm describing women.
Emotional manipulation that he's admitted to before already multiple times.
Who are going to...
In fact, actually, I believe it was on the Fit and Fitness podcast where he said, okay, so I had 5 girlfriends and none of them knew about each other. None of them knew each other existed. But then I was broke, so I brought them all into my house, sat them down at a table, and introduced them all to one another and said, guys, we're going to do a webcam business, we're going to get rich. And then 3 of them decided to leave, and 2 of them decided to stay. And then other women would come as a result, and he would keep using, this is called the lover boy method of pimping, right? Where you are in love with somebody, quote, quote, and then you convince them to exploit themselves for you because they are in love with you. These are things that he admitted live on a podcast already. In fact, actually, hold on. I think I have that one set up and ready to go.
Bro, Chris will tell you the story. I'll tell you. All 5 flew in, picked them all up. They're all sitting there, sat around the same table. Bro, I need to get paid. Right? I'm broke now. I'm retired from fighting. I have no money. I'm running out of money. So I put them all around the same table. And I was like, look, we're gonna start a webcam business. You're gonna stay here and live in London. I'm gonna look after you. We're gonna get rich. We're gonna be a team. And they're like, well, who's this bitch? I'm like, she's my girlfriend. She's my girlfriend. She's my girlfriend. You're all my chicks. And you're gonna stay here and we're gonna make some money. Big fight kicks off, blah, 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 blah. In the end, long story short, 3 left, 2 stayed. Those are my first 2 girls. We started this little webcam business from my apartment, and it just grew and grew and grew, and got to the point where at one point I had 7.
All right, so again, right there, he literally does the thing where he goes like, no, I emotionally manipulated 5 people. I brought them into my apartment. They had no idea each other existed. 2 of them decided to stay. Guy, don't pretend you did not engage in this manipulation when you yourself have gone on record before to say that you did.
To accuse you of rape and human
Sophie hasn't gone
trafficking.
to court. Sophie doesn't
And
exist.
I'm describing women who have spoken to the BBC at length.
Sophie doesn't exist.
And other media organisations about what they say is emotional manipulation and coercion. And I'm quoting back to you your own words where you describe
They're not my words.
coercion.
They're the words you had on
Hi.
your website as representative of you. Also, hello, Gizmo.
Words you
emotional
the
manipulation.
words you found on the internet, and Sophie doesn't exist.
On your
so let's move on
website,
to the next
in
subject.
your voice.
Move on to the next subject.
So as soon as she says it's on your website, things that have been said in your voice, now you're like, let's move on to the next thing. Let's move on to the next subject. Like, my guy, as soon as you can't move those goalposts anymore, as soon as you've been stuck in that position of being cornered, you're like, no, let's move on to the next thing.
No, I think I'll stick on this one for a minute. So there's other places in that same website where you say you get girls to fall in love with you and they do it because they love you, because they want to do what you say. Convincing women
Again, this is lover boy pimping.
to take part in some kind of business arrangement doesn't work long term because they're emotional. You've got to get them to fall in love with you.
Once
That's
again,
coercion, that's emotional manipulation, that's abuse.
what you've found are clips from the internet, some text from the internet, and you're going to sit here and tell me that that's the reason I should be
Your
looking.
website, your words.
It's not my website.
I don't know, is it? It's Tate's website. It's his PhD program. Bruh.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Check my website. Next.
Okay, so the reason that you won't find that on your website is the same reason I had to go to archive.org to find this. The reason that it's on archive.org is because you deleted that page off of your website. You knew that this could come back to bite you in the ass, or a PR person on your team knew, and they went in and deleted that off the website. You can go, oh yeah, no, check my website. We did. The internet is this lovely place where lost media is more rare than you think.
It's the website you've taken down, and I wonder why those comments have been taken down.
No website's been taken down. My website is the same, and it's been the same for a very long time. You are accusing me, I'm guessing, what you're trying to say is you're accusing me, and you're trying to say that I'm guilty of the things I'm accused of, and that I'm emotionally manipulating people.
I'm saying that you have said you emotionally manipulated people here for your own financial gain.
No, absolutely not.
It's not only
He literally, you said you did. We actually played a clip of a video where you said as much.
about the criminal allegations. It's a much bigger issue. You've got children's organisations in the UK, you've got rape organisations in the UK, you've got the police naming you by name as someone who has a harmful influence on children and on women in the UK and elsewhere because of the things you say, because of the way you present gender relations, the way you say men should treat women.
That's very upsetting. And the reason that's very upsetting is because I know that's not true. I'm genuinely a good person. I believe my...
I'm sure you believe that. I'm sure you believe that. The guy who says that he's a Muslim because Muslim is the religion that has power and influence and doesn't get bullied the way Christianity does, believe me, I 100% believe that guy's a good person.
impact on the world is positive.
The
This is
reason we're
garbage.
asking you about these comments is because we've got the chief executive of Rape Crisis naming you individually as spreading a dangerous ideology of misogynistic rape culture.
Absolute
It's the comments you make that are leading people to say things like this.
Absolute garbage.
National organisations who are saying that are blaming you for increasing levels of misogyny. Schools that are saying they are having increased incidents of girls being attacked, of female teachers being harassed
If that was
by
true,
pupils
if that-
because of you and your teaching
Well, that's
and your
absolute-
influence.
That's absolute garbage. I have never, ever encouraged a student to attend.
You don't have to encourage it. The way you comport yourself, the way you act as women are objects, when you do that as a large-scale influencer, kids are going to take that message and they are going to run with it. You may not be individually responsible for individual things that happen, but this is what happens when you engage in stochastic violence. You don't have to individually say that somebody should do a thing. When you suggest that people are worth less than others, that people are objects, and then those people get mistreated as a result of people who are your fans going and treating people the way that you might not have explicitly said they need to be treated, but most certainly is not too far of a logical step from how you said they should be treated, then it makes sense that we would be here. It makes sense that we would be in this position right now. This does not mean that you are, quote, guilty of a crime, because stochastic terrorism is a very hard crime to pin somebody down on. This is why, for the longest time, the FBI used the term lone wolf terrorism, because we believed these things to be lone wolf incidences. Over time, we have learned that no, these come from people who have been part of influence networks, people who have been part of cultures and echo chambers that have led them to extremist behaviors. Andrew, you are, in fact, part of that pipeline, whether you disbelieve it or not. The actual words you've said on your website, on podcasts, on your interviews, those things are getting used against you, and you're upset now that those things are being used against you. That's not your problem anymore. This is the world's problem, and you suck at it.
Attack a teacher, male or female, ever. I preach hard work, discipline. I'm an athlete. I preach anti-drug. I preach religion. I preach no alcohol. I preach no knife crime. Every single problem with modern society, I'm against.
But
I'm
men
teaching
and
young
boys.
men. I'm teaching young men to be disciplined, to be diligent, to listen, to train.
And how are you teaching them to treat women? How are you teaching them to treat their partners? You're teaching them to treat them like status symbols. So this is one of the reasons that I've been wanting to talk about masculinity so much on my channel. This is one of the reasons I've been wanting to talk about men's issues more on my channel, because what happens is Andrew Tate is right. What happens is Andrew Tate, the things he's saying right now are true. He himself does actually do a lot of content teaching self-discipline, teaching yourself to abstain from certain things, teaching yourself to grow as an individual. He does that. He does that. Those are things he does. Yes. That's the smokescreen. People come onto Andrew Tate's channel looking for somebody who they can look up to, looking for somebody who's going to teach them how to be a better person, looking for an influencer to influence them to engage in self-help. It's the pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality sold to you from a, quote, fitness expert. And you go onto his website, you go onto his channel, and you find a lot of this. You find a lot of this conversation about self-help, and people latch onto that. But then all around that, all around those conversations about self-help, self-improvement, all of the stuff that is positive, you find rabid misogyny, you find just terrible misinterpretations of nerd culture, you find arguments that certain people are worthless and lesser than you, you find all of this toxic bullshit, and then when you find how he's making his money, he's emotionally manipulating people in order to do so. He gains his influence from using that emotional manipulation. If you look past the facade of the self-help person, you find a piece of shit. It's a rotten egg. It looks fine on the surface. It looks like a nice egg. You think it's great, it's perfectly smooth, and then as soon as you crack it open, you smell the sulfur. It's the same thing as people like Jordan Peterson, who can ostensibly sell themselves on the fact that they are self-help gurus. And then these self-help gurus, they bring you into their channel to try to figure out how to make a positive impact in your life, and then suddenly they're talking about things like the bell curve, and things like how gender stereotypes are good, actually, and things like, well, sometimes people have a reason to be racist, and then you go down that rabbit hole with people like Jordan Peterson. It's the same thing here with Andrew Tate. You come for the self-help, you come for the self-improvement, and you walk away a misogynist after several months of consuming and internalizing that content. A good friend of mine has a brother who is a massive Andrew Tate fan. And just being in a room with this person is incredibly uncomfortable. Hearing the ways that they talk about other women. The very first conversation I had with this individual was them saying, hey, so there's this chick I hang out with, smoking hot, super fucking, I would bang her in a heartbeat. And then, like, as an aside, he mentions, oh, by the way, it's my best friend's wife. And I'm like, bruh, I don't know you. You're effectively shouting this shit out in mixed company. What the fuck kind of dumbass brainworms are you suffering from? But then I found out the dude's an Andrew Tate fan. And he's a Jordan Peterson fan. And all of a sudden it made sense. I'm like, oh, right. This is the type of person that creates. This is the type of person that is made, shaped, and molded from this type of influencer.
To work hard, to be exactly like me. And I'm saying that if men grew up like me, which are hardworking and diligent and some emotional control and stoic, we're going to have a better society, not a worse society. To sit here and say that schools...
I like how he says he's hardworking, but in his webcam industry, the only people who work are the girls. He says he's the hardworking one. That's funny.
In England,
Gizmo, thank you for the 50
failing
bits.
nation, which has knife crime going through the roof, violence going through the roof, men's mental health going through the roof, and they're going to all blame me because I appeared on the internet 1 year ago.
You sell an image of success.
Disingenuous. It's disingenuous.
You
and
sell
also,
an image of financial success
correct.
with a Bugatti and a cigar, but it comes with a side order of misogyny.
How does having a Bugatti and a cigar come with misogyny?
That's not what she said. She said you specifically, you sell the influence of a person who has this success, but it also comes with a side order of misogyny. The Bugatti and the cigar have nothing to do with misogyny, but you do sell misogyny, and you sell the image of the Bugatti and the cigar.
I am asking you about things that you have said that have caused major national organizations, including the police, to worry about you by name. That's what I'm asking you about.
It's not what I said.
It's about what you have said that has caused such concern in the UK. And I want to put it to you that...
Now, granted, I do believe that this journalist should actually be pointing out it is a combination of what you say and how many people you say it to. Though I think the reason that she's not saying that is because Andrew Tate would run with that. He would cherry pick the how many people you say it to and go, it's just because I'm successful. It's just because I'm successful.
You don't really care about the harm it causes because
That's not true.
Making controversial statements like this online has made you a lot of money.
Okay, so first thing, I genuinely am a force for good in the world. You may not understand that yet, but you will eventually. And I genuinely believe...
You may not understand that yet, but you will eventually. This is the fucking Matrix shit. This is the whole, like, the Matrix is out to get me. I'm Neo. I'm the one.
I believe I'm acting under the instruction of God to do good things, and I want to make the world a better place. I genuinely believe my legacy is a good legacy, and I believe that eventually, when the legacy media catches up, they're going to understand I'm a good, positive influence. I'm not interested in damaging the world for money, because if I was interested in damaging the world for money, I could have sold drugs, or I could make rap music and encourage everyone to stab each other like all the drill artists do.
So, I'm just going to go ahead and say that we have our lovely little racist stereotype there. The idea that rap music is just encouraging violence. Okay, so I'm just going to go and throw this out there right now. While there is some music that does encourage violence of every genre, rap specifically is a music, at least, you know, in America, it is a music that has developed here in a culture of people who have been stricken with poverty, who grew up in violent areas. The reason that the rap artist image is so baked in with tons of jewelry and signs of success is because it's being sold to people who have grown up in poverty. The earliest versions of rap here in the States don't talk about your need to become violent. They talk about living and growing up in violent circumstances, growing up in places that are violent because they are poverty-stricken. Said, is it a dog whistle for being racist? It's not really a dog whistle, because there's nobody being signaled to there that it wouldn't automatically catch on. Like 1488's a dog whistle because it looks obscure. 1611's a dog whistle because it looks obscure. 1530's a dog whistle because it looks obscure. But when you just say like, ah, yes, the rap that encourages violence, you're not dog whistling anymore. You're just talking to every fucking middle class white dude and girl in the United States or the UK that is just like, oh, look what's happened to our neighborhoods. They keep coming and the property taxes go down. Oh. Said that face indeed, though. Wait, did you say 1530? Oh, sorry, 1350, not 1530. Diamond. 1350, not 1530. 1350 is the racist one about, you know, despite making up 13% of the population, one group of people is responsible for 50% of the violent crimes. That's the 1350 thing. 1488 being the 14 words, protect the future for white children. 88 being Heil Hitler. You know, yeah, sorry. I farked up if I said it was 1530. It's 1350.
You could make controversial statements online that attract a lot of followers who you then direct to your website where they pay to learn how to be like you.
I mean, I could make jokes online. Who doesn't?
I could be a worse person. Don't worry, guys.
I mean, I could make a joke
online. Are you
online.
saying that all the controversial things you've said are jokes?
No, I'm saying that these organizations and the BBC who are going to sit here and pretend that I am the face of damaging the youth is absolutely...
You're not the face of damaging the youth. You're part of the problem. You, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, Charlie Kirk, Michael Knowles, several of you, Nick Fuentes, Kanye West, all of you.
Garbage. It's completely disingenuous.
It makes you
and
money.
The reason, in fact, I've seen thousands and thousands of comments and have endless emails from women praising
Doesn't
the fact,
it worry you?
praising the fact that their sons are listening to me.
Does it not
praising
worry you?
The fact that
the things I'm saying, does it not worry you?
It would worry. It would.
Are you not concerned about your influence?
It would worry me if I was genuinely damaging the world. But for you to sit here and say, Andrew, you've become the most Googled man in the world. You have billions of views, and one woman, is now saying that her husband is not the same man she wants him to be. When thousands and thousands of people are saying the opposite, well, then I would say
I've presented you with case after case after case, with quote after quote after quote of people who are genuinely concerned about the impact you're having, and you brush it off as if it's nothing.
No, what you have done is come here with an agenda. You've come here with loaded questions. You've come here with things taken out of context.
Not even a loaded question. She literally just quoted your website to you.
Come here with things that you don't understand are satirical, and then you're going to also sit and say that one woman said that her...
Every bad thing he said has to be satire. I love it when they pull that.
Boyfriend changed when he watched one of your videos. And then I don't know what you expect me to say to that.
Sarcastic, and jokes. No, that's how you explain the comments you make.
For you to sit down...
Would you like to apologize for any of them?
For you to sit down... for you to sit down... It's fine. No, it's fine. It's easy. For you to sit down and say that one woman said...
God, he's so fucking mad. Gizmo, thank you for redeeming your points for an... Ada. Fucking DJ. He's so fucking mad.
That her boyfriend watched an Andrew Tate video, and now he won't do the dishes.
Schools.
Or whatever your argument is.
Police.
And that I'm somehow the worst, most dangerous man in the world because I have a car. Is just disingenuous. If you actually watch the things I say, if you actually watch my comments about women, I've done long podcasts for hours long about females, talking about protecting for them, providing for them, how I believe a woman should be treated in a relationship. I've done all of this.
Andrew Tate talking there to Lucy Williamson. Well, let's go straight to the newsroom, go straight to our education editor, Branwen Jeffrey.
Oh shit, I'm muted. Okay, I said I'm not too concerned about their comments here. I don't care what the BBC thinks about Andrew Tate. I really don't. I don't give a shit about the BBC. But I do find it interesting saying like this woman is a direct reflection of the journalists who destroyed journalism over the past decade. She did an amazing job by convincing thousands of people that Andrew is a genuinely good person. This man saved my life, my family, and my company by teaching me how to be a disciplined man of honor. There's so many people who are just going to suck the fucking toes of Andrew Tate here, and it's insane. It's insane. Especially when literally we were able to pull up the exact moments, the exact quotes that she was referring to with no trouble whatsoever. No trouble whatsoever. So it makes you wonder if any of them are sarcasm. It's the internet. People will say anything. People will say anything on the fucking internet. They really will. But this is where I gotta throw it back to you guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. There's really not much I can give here besides the analysis I've already thrown out. So this is just a sad state of affairs. I don't want to sit here and make fun of Andrew Tate's looks. I don't want to sit here and make fun of his position, disposition, health, any of that. I want to make fun of the fact that he, as an individual, is trying to say that every bad thing that's ever come out of his mouth must have been sarcasm, must have been... It must have been jest, it must have been satire, and by the way, I'm actually the best, most influenced person in the world. Jesus Christ. Anyway, hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, everybody, insert end of video tagline here.